Last week, I accidentally met a pretty famous indie game developer that, had no idea that he was actually that popular until like a whole lot later. So the story goes like this. Basically, after my hike with my friend at Mount Hiezan, which is like that mountain right there, I was telling her about how one of my goals is to try to meet more creative people. And she introduced me to this sort of, it's not exactly a cafe, but it's just like an event host place where they were hosting Mahjong. And it's like Rishi Mahjong. And she invited me to go. So I went and I ended up playing at a table with me, my friend, another girl, and then the indie game developer that basically owned the place. And I had no idea. He was just teaching me how to play Mahjong the whole time. I was like basically a beginner since I only learned how to play like the Chinese version like a month ago. And the rules were very, very, very different for how I learned how to play it, which was like a very simple style compared to like this other like Mahjong with so many different rules and a point system and all that stuff. But I wasn't last. I ended up being third place. But it was very fun actually. But at first I was very, very lost, and he was teaching me the whole time. And in the meantime, I was asking questions and stuff like, like what do you do? Or I was asking the two new people like, what do you guys do? And both of them happened to be like CS, and I asked if they have any creative hobbies, and he was saying, yeah, of course. His whole life is like lots of creative projects. So he showed me his YouTube because I mentioned that I do YouTube, and I was like, oh yeah. The first question he asked actually was like, well, how many subscribers do you have? And I told him that I have like about 30,000 because my main channel has 38,000 subscribers as of this moment. And he was like, oh yeah, I have about 15,000. And then he was saying how he only makes a video like once or twice a year. um, but he showed me his most recent one, which was like this whole setup with AI involved where they play Mahjong for him, um, like online Mahjong. So like this whole like machine basically just plays it for him. And ranks him up and everything like that. And I was like, what the heck? That was like a crazy machine that he built. And at that point, I was like, who am I talking to? At this stage, I still had no idea like who he actually was. Um, but it was just a fun interaction, getting to sort of like get to know new people during that mahjong game and learn a whole new game at the same time. Like he was basically my sensei. I called him my sensei the whole time. It was, or I called him sensei once, but in my mind I was like, man, this guy's teaching me so much about this game. Um, but I really had fun with it that day. And he invited me to the event the next day, which was like a game developer sort of meetup. And part of my journey doing this whole thing on my own was actually games. Like starting off, me and my friend from elementary school tried to create some prototypes of games a long time ago. I used Unity, and I created a prototype of two games that you could actually play, or that I did play on my phone. And yeah, it was a interesting stage in my life, and I still have a couple ideas that I want to try to make happen. But I went to the event sort of not really thinking about those things, which was kind of dumb. But I just wanted to try to meet new people, which I did, and it was fun. It was good to meet new people who have done so many things. Like there's one guy showcasing their project called Lexi Blocks, and then another guy was showing like, oh, my hand's getting tired. I'm gonna face it this way for a little. A guy was showing off his game that he did for like UI design. He was the UI designer. It was called Cyborg Immortal, and it was pretty cool. He let me play like the prototype version, even though technically there's like a full release version already out. So I was meeting all these like cool people, and I was pretty happy about it. I was like, this is nice. It is still a little difficult for me because I don't know. I felt quite different being like probably the only one there who was like someone who does YouTube, who is like a Skillshare teacher, um, and then I'm also a voiceover artist on Fiverr. So those are the things that I can say, like voiceovers and voice acting. Obviously, that's helpful for games and for music as well, since I create my own piano originals. But I don't have enough like of a repertoire to be like, or of a portfolio really, to be like, oh yeah, I can help create music for your game, you know. Although that was mentioned for one of the projects, it's sort of a way to like meet people and exchange ideas and talk about their projects and maybe how you might be able to help and stuff like that. Networking, I guess, is what it's called. But it was fun. It was really fun. I thought that like these are the types of things that I want to do and try to go to more often. But at the same time, I also feel like I still have a long ways to go before I can offer anything like actually that useful. But yeah, that was a really fun experience. Like both things. It also happened to be the same day I went to the Kinkakuji with snow, so very beautiful day, and we have a lot that we need to do in general before we feel kind of more ready to engage in like a big collab project like that. But soon enough, I feel like there are a lot of ideas that I have that I would love to be created, and I feel like there are so many people out there who can create it better than me, so teaming up with them would be better. But yeah, I'm just feeling good that I got to meet some cool people, and initially, you know, it was that creator, the indie game developer. I'll leave his YouTube down below actually. I'm not going to say his name on video, but if you're curious, you can check it out in the description. But yeah, it was really fun, and I thought that was like such a cool experience that I got to have thanks to my friend, who I will now be seeing at a ramen restaurant. So I better not be late. I'm gonna head out. I'll catch you guys in the next one.